Happy Wednesday. This is episode 7 of Uncovering the Corners of the World podcast. I'm your host, Karina Kasmala. In each episode, using research and in some cases personal experiences where I actually visited these places, I'll be explaining some of the hidden locations and attractions around the United States and around the globe. Last week, we visited the Harley-Davidson Museum in Milwaukee, Al Johnson's Swedish restaurant in Sister Bay, and Tim's Hill in Ogema, Wisconsin. This week, we are continuing our adventure in Wisconsin. This condiment can be used in hamburgers, hot dogs, corn dogs, and sandwiches. It also comes in several flavors. It can be spicy, hot, whole grain, and honey flavored. And its national holiday is celebrated this year on August 1st, 2020. Can you guess what it is? Mustard. Although we might only see a handful of mustard flavors and brands in the grocery store, but at 7477 Hubbard Avenue, Middleton, Wisconsin, is a museum with over 6,000 mustard bottles and brands from the United States and around the world. And this place is known as the National Museum of Mustard. The founder of the museum is Barry Levinson, who originally worked as an assistant attorney general for the state of Wisconsin. But as an attorney, he collected mustard jars until 1992, as mentioned by the Mustard Museum website. He left that job to open the Mustard Museum, supposedly mentioned on the website in 1986 when the Boston Red Sox lost his favorite baseball team. He went to the supermarket and the mustard was calling to him, encouraging him to collect them and saying they will come. Today, the exhibits inside the museum include mustard from all 50 states and from over 70 countries, along with a tasting bar that serves interesting flavors of mustard, like tequila, wasabi, chocolate, and blue cheese. There's also a section of the museum titled Mrs. Mustard's Kitchen, where they explain recipes that mustard can be included in. On April 5th, 1992, the Museum of Mustard Jars opened in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, and then moved twice because of the large number of mustard jars being added to the collection, to today being located in Middleton, Wisconsin. In 2010, the Mustard Museum held a mustard festival on National Mustard Day, August 1st. This year, the Mustard Festival is being held online. However, based on last year's festival on August 3rd, 2019, there was a special guest, Gorman Thomas, former Milwaukee Brewers baseball player, and who is known for his Stormin' Sauce mustard from South Carolina. There were also games like the Mustard Cornhole, Mustard Bowling, Fishing for Mustard, and Dance with the Duchess of Mustard, among others. There were also foods served with mustard, of course, like Middleton barbecue pulled pork and brats, soft pretzels, and Culver's frozen mustard custard, along with purchasing mustard souvenirs. This museum is listed on the National Register of Historical Places, which names places and architecture that are considered odd and are accessible by radio, TV, satellite, audio, video, or computer. The admission to the museum is free, according to their website, the National Mustard Museum. You can also purchase different types, like fruit, garlic, veggie, hot, horseradish, organic, and so on, of mustards on their. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, an hour and 22 minutes away from the National Mustard Museum, is the home, or mansion really, of Captain Pabst at 2000 West Wisconsin Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Pabst today can be seen on beer cans designed with a blue ribbon on top of a red stripe, known as the Pabst Blue Ribbon. Yet the history of Pabst traces back to 1842 with Jacob Best Jr. and Charles Best from Mettenheim, Germany, as mentioned by the Pabst Mansion website. Jacob Best Jr., along with his 4 sons, created the Brewery of Best and Company, making 300 barrels of alcohol. Over time, while 2 of his sons went off to start their own brewery business, one son, Philip, inherited the entire brewery business from Jacob Best Jr., changing the name to Philip Best Brewing Company. Philip's daughter, Maria, married Frederick Pabst, or Captain Pabst, in 1860. Pabst owned half of the company before the second owner passed away in 1888, and in 1889 the name changed to Pabst Brewing Company. Pabst wanted to have his brewery well known, and that in 1893, November, the Pabst Brewing Company was awarded the Certificate for Brewing Excellence at the 1893 Columbian Exposition. The mansion is home to Captain Pabst, born March 1836 in Germany, and his wife Maria, and their children. They moved into the mansion in 1892, and the mansion was designed by George Bowman Ferry and Alfred Charles Class. The mansion is filled with various collections of art, paintings, and although the museum is currently closed, there is a virtual tour available of all the rooms inside the mansion and all 3 floors. In Hayward, Wisconsin, at 10360 Hall of Fame Drive, is a landmark, 140 feet in length and 4.5 stories tall. Made out of concrete, steel, and fiberglass, and hand-sculpted to resemble the long, green, leaping muskellunge, which is a freshwater fish. Specifically, this landmark is called the Shrine to Anglers. Surrounding the fish is a quarter-sized pond, while inside is a museum, and on top where the mouth of the fish is a platform allowing 20 people to stand on, as mentioned by the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame and Museum. While standing inside the mouth of the fish, you can see Lake Hayward and the city of Hayward. Inside the museum, there are 300 mounted freshwater fish and over 50,000 vintage and historical lures, rods, reels, and angling items. The museum also has a record book that shows all the info when it comes to the world record catches for every freshwater species in America. But in order to be considered in the world record, it has to be a least popular type of fish that's caught. Thanks for listening this week. Tune in next week as we continue our adventure in the United States.